Okay, so today we're going to go over adding and subtracting integers. So for the first example, and this one will be well known and quite simple, we have 4 plus 4. Now, some of you might be saying, oh, that's pretty obvious, it's pretty easy, but let's show it on a number line. Now, as a general rule of thumb, you move to the left if you subtract, and you move to the right to add. Now, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. And that will give us 8. So 4 plus 4 equals 8. Now, let's try a different example, a more difficult example. We have 6 plus negative 3. Now, some of you might be a little confused by this. How can you add a negative? But really, adding a negative is the same as subtracting a positive. So this is really just 6 minus 3, which once again is quite simple and we know to be 3. Let's try a different example. 7 plus negative 2. Once again, feel free to pause if you want to do this question without me, but 7 plus negative 2, when you add a negative, is the same thing as simply subtracting a positive. 7 minus 2, which we know to be 5. Let's change it up a little bit. Let's go negative 6 plus 4. Now this is new, we haven't seen this, but ultimately when you're adding, the order doesn't matter. So we could write this as or 4 minus 6, which we know to be negative 2. Or you could just do it the other way and take negative 6 on a number line and add 4. So you'd be going to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 5, negative 4, negative 3, and negative 2. Either way, you come up with the same answer, negative 2. Now, let's try a different example. 5. Negative 5 plus 6. Now, feel free to pause and do this on your own, but just like the last one, you can just flip the order and go 6 minus 5, which comes out to 1. And the same thing works with the number line. You can plot it on a number line, negative 5, and you're moving to the right because you're adding. Negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you get the same answer of 1. Now let's try and trick you guys. Let's go negative 5 plus negative 3. Now some of you may be wondering, oh, this is new, but once again, adding a negative is the equivalent to subtracting a positive. So negative 5 plus negative 3 in fact, don't even think of it like that. Just think of it as having 5 negatives. And what you want to do is you want to add to that 3 more negatives. Now, how many negatives do you have in total? You have 8. So negative 5 plus negative 3 is equal to negative 8. Let's try a similar type of question. You have negative 2 plus negative 3 in brackets. Now, feel free to pause and do this on your own, but negative 2 plus negative 3, you have 2 negatives. And you add to that 3 negatives. And you're left with negative 5. You have 5 negatives. Let's do one more different type of question. Say you have 4. Oh, sorry, I forgot to remember the question. Let's do one more different type of question. Okay, so you have 4 plus negative 2 plus 7. Now, once again, adding a negative is the equivalent to subtracting a positive. So 4 plus negative 2 is really just 4 minus 2 plus 7. 4 minus 2, you're left with 2, plus 7, you get 9. And lastly, let's go negative 8 plus 4 plus, plus negative 6. Now this one might be a little tricky, but let's just break it down. What is negative 8 plus 4? We can just flip that and go 4 minus 8, which we know equals negative 4, and then plus negative 6, which adding a negative, we can go negative, 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 negative. That's for the negative 4, plus negative, 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 and negative, which will give us negative 10. So this here is equal to